What's good, two people? This is Denny.
And this is James from TeaDB. We're bringing you episode number 181. So today we are going to do a fancy schmancy tea sent to us by CavemanKing. So thank you to CavemanKing on Instagram. They have some mighty fine teas in caves, apparently. So this tea is White2Tea's top tea of 2016.
Cool.
Where he decided to make the decision where he wasn't even going to sell samples of it, so people had to blindly spend almost $400 on cakes. So it is a privilege to try this tea. So $400 or $370 for a 200-gram cake. So it is not a cheap tea, not your budget tea that you're going to give to your mom.
I only give my mom the finest. So.
Oh, me too. So this tea would be a tea that you would give your mom. Anyways, we are going to get to it. So we are using the rest of this sample, and we are going to give this a rinse. You could drink the rinse, whatever. I don't care what you would do.
So James is breaking it up pretty finely. Point being, want to get to the actual tea as quickly as we can.
Yep. Take a smelter delta of that.
Oh, wow. I'm getting pineapple.
Pineapple.
I'm getting specifically pineapple. Tropical fruity.
I could get that. Yeah, some citric. It has a really strong thing that's just right on the top.
Smells amazing.
Right there.
Smells super delightful. And so this is going to be a young raw, so we're hoping that it's got a balance of potency with not killing you completely so that you die whenever you drink this. And I think that for such a high price tag tea, we would expect that. Of course, this could be one of those teas that you wouldn't want to age forever, but the price that it's at already, one would hope that
it'd be good for bulk.
Yeah, be good now and good later.
Yep. Alright, so we will be drinking these. We will just be giving that the one rinse that I already did.
Cool.
We'll take another smell. Leaves are already taken over that Shibo.
Yeah, jeez.
So
yeah, it's
greener notes to it. Yeah. Less of that pineapple that was on the initial infusion. Yep. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Already super sweet. Getting the fruit, that pineapple thing is
in this infusion.
Yeah, subtle, but it's there. Not very much of that sort of petrol, gasoline vibe. I mean, all young raws are going to have that a little bit, but this is not very much at all.
Mm-hmm. So not too many of those green flavors, and that's a good thing. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm noticing that this is leaving a really strong, sort of lasting aftertaste, sort of on the roof of my mouth. I also noticed that it's sort of, I can feel the tea. It has great depth to it, so sort of in the body and the throat. Yeah, we're going to keep going, though.
Yeah.
So
James prefaced this episode with, this is a special tea, and we're going to drink eight infusions of this.
On camera.
Camera. So deal with it.
Yeah. So if you're watching Lord of the Rings tonight, cancel your plans. You're watching it tomorrow.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's been sweeter.
So thick in the throat too.
Yeah, it's got a good balance of viscosity. It doesn't have that overbrewed ripe Pu'erh molasses in it, but it's got just a nice so when you're drinking wine, it's got a nice what is that called? Where when you pour it from side to side, it stays on the glass. It was probably folks out there, comment below, let me know. I can't remember what the hell that's called. Anyway, I'm sure it's gonna have that. It feels like that in my mouth. So just really nice viscosity.
And I would say it's initially a little bitter, like lightly bitter, but that bitterness quickly transforms into sort of like sweet feelings in the mouth.
Yeah, I can see that, but it's a very very
palatable bitterness.
Yeah, it's not overpowering in any way.
It's not like we got like a sledgehammer and bashing each other's tongue in with bitterness or something. That's an image.
Getting aftertastes of floral. This feels like a spring tea.
I'm having a hard time unseeing that pineapple that you mentioned earlier. So I sort of have like that pineapple sort of like slightly acidic citric taste sort of like lingering in, especially like the roof and the back of my mouth.
Let's keep going. It's brewing up really nice yellow. I'm assuming it's going to continue to brew up.
Yep.
As such.
If it brews darker, then it'll probably be pretty darn potent.
More of that green.
Florals.
It's coming in now. A little bit more bitter. But.
And I think that's just a product of going towards full strength.
And a lot of tea.
Yeah. We can see it's bringing up a really strong, stronger color than it was initially.
I would give this a little bit more. I think it has more bitterness and more depth than something like the pound cake, which is just like overwhelmingly sweet and
lots of honeys and
it's just almost impossible to make that tea bitter. This has more bite to it. I can see this tea actually aging really well. Interesting though to see what it tastes like later on, because you might lose some of those floral, slightly more crisp notes. It's good. A little bit, I don't want to call it minerally, but it's kind of salty, almost. Sweet Lord, it's a lot of tea.
I'm getting sort of like fluffy floral notes off of that nose now, is I guess how I would describe it.
What do you think?
I'm a fan of this tea. I've had it once before. I really like the depth to the tea. For me, it produces like a good energy, good body feel off of it as well.
I'm enjoying this as well a lot, actually.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Definitely more bitter. I get a little bit more nuttiness off of this. It's interesting because the tea is decently thick, but I would not say this is the thickest tea I've ever had. It's got a reasonable viscosity, but I think more about this tea's appeal is sort of like how the aftertastes linger, and how they come back and stuff like that. Like if I were to drink water now, the water would taste wacky as hell, because of all of the sort of flavors that are lingering in my mouth.
I'm liking that it's getting more to that like powerful young raw vibe. Definitely the bitterness there too, a little bit more of that sort of earthiness.
How is the energy for this? Is this sort of like energizing you? Is it making you want to lie on the couch?
It's definitely, I wouldn't call it a warming tea necessarily, but it definitely is giving me good energy. This isn't heating me up a bunch though.
Okay.
Interestingly enough.
So some young raw pourers can do that to you.
It really just depends. Some of these teas can be I just heat up all of a sudden, and this one is not really doing that to me at all. So I wouldn't call it like a calming tea. I think it's definitely energizing, and really, really pretty damn pleasant. I'm enjoying the evolution of the tea as well as it goes on, and clearly it is just continuing to be freaking potent. Look at how yellow that is. It's like we're drinking pee.
And with that, cheers, guys.
Oh, man. I think it's turned through that intense bitterness and come back to the sweetness a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is actually really nice.
It's got a soft bitterness to it now. Like the texture, I feel like, has really softened up for this tea. It feels very nice in the mouth.
I mean, this is one of those teas that you could, you like a session like this, you steep it and steep it and steep it and steep it. Little that pineapple thing it's subtle, but I'm still getting it.
Okay.
Getting some of those Pu'erh burps.
Poo burps?
Poo burps.
Yeah.
I was not in a band called Poo Burps.
You were not. Okay, just, what was it called? Hairy Nuts?
It wasn't quite that bad, but it was intentionally bad like that, yeah.
Okay.
Check out episode 180.
Yeah, the
80
last episode, yeah.
for that. Did we say this, episode 181?
Yeah, this is 181, yeah.
Well, now we said it.
Yeah.
So, clearly this is a tea that is going to be meant for a special occasion. Every episode of TeaDB is a special occasion, so yay.
Unless you're wealthy.
Yeah. But this is a really quite remarkable tea. You know, if someone asked me, is this worth the price? I'd say that it just depends. Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's how wealthy are you? How much do you love teas?
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna but spend $400 on one cake pretty much ever. So this is definitely something where, for me, I would try to procure this from a friend. So this is the kind of tea that I wouldn't get myself without having tasted. That being said, this is a really tasty tea. If you folks want to go and give it a blind shot or do a group buy, I think I'd recommend it. You know, this is definitely...
Do you think this is a tea that someone newer to tea could appreciate?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think this isn't something that's off limits from anybody. I think the only thing that might deter people would be that it's expensive and just getting started. So I would say, have tasted a bunch of these different raws and ripes, and given them a few different.
Don't make this
ages.
the first one,
precisely.
But
yeah, have a base from which you can compare this tea to. That being said, I think it's totally an approachable tea. Brewing it this way might be, for someone who's just starting out in tea, might be a little bit intense, but we like to stress test these teas, and it's working quite well. I'm loving the residual sweetness. I think it has a great combination of bitterness and sweetness. I think if I were brewing this, would brew this a little bit less, because holy shit, that's a lot of tea.
I think we might be using a little bit more leaf. Supposedly there was 10 grams sent. I used 5 grams earlier to test this tea, and I think there might be a little bit more than 5 grams in there. So we are perhaps overdoing the ratio, but it is...
it's holding up.
Oh, yeah, indeed. I mean, it's strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting the tea burps.
I'd say this is also a tea where... brew it 7 or 8 times, give it a break, come back to it a bit later.
Totally.
I'm finding that, I'm feeling extremely energized at this point from this tea. It's not a weak tea in terms of like the energy it gives. So I definitely agree with Denny saying it's energizing. This would be a good workout tea, I'd say. Go pump some iron.
It's still maintaining a little bit of that sweet fruit smell. I am freaking awake. This is an energizing tea for sure.
So we'll call it at this final infusion, I think. And we are still, I am not steeping this tea for very long, and it's still quite bitter. So that is something to note. So it starts, I'd say it started out feeling very sweet, and then sort of that bitterness is coming in. But the bitterness is of the very the good type, the one that sort of like transforms into different feelings and sweetnesses in the mouth.
Yeah, exactly. I would call these Scott Wilson ratios. Shout out to you, Scott.
Yeah.
Which is the, just throw a ton of tea in there and it looks right.
That is a ton of tea.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if we can show this on camera very well, but that is just full.
Yeah.
Of tea.
It's probably like 7 grams in there and like 75 milliliters. I would say the aromas of this have become more typical as we brewed out.
Yes.
It's not giving out anything. And even the taste, I don't think, are anything crazy. I think it's more about like that depth and that aftertaste and that energy. Ooh, that's strong.
All right, James. Shout out to CavemanKing.
Follow him on Instagram.
At CavemanKing.
Yeah, he has some treacheries in his cave. Hopefully, they will continue to age over there.
Yeah,
that's what this tea is called, Treachery of Storytelling.
Got you.
Yeah.
Of course, check out White2Tea's. They have some great teas. Check us out on TeaDB.org for a ton of teas. I am feeling it. Holy crap, man.
Yeah.
I am like, I suddenly went from like okay to just like wow. Okay, so this is a tea that will make you lightheaded.
Drink water.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, drink responsibly. Yeah, it's a strong tea, and it sort of crept up. Like for me, I started to really feel it like 3 infusions ago, and
sweet lord.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start shaking.
So
before tea.
Yeah, before we convulse into like a sweaty mess and drip into a puddle, we're gonna cut the camera.
And you guys are gonna check us out on TeaDB.org.
Yeah.
Subscribe to all of our stuff. Send us money that doesn't actually happen on PayPal that we don't actually have. Don't worry about that. Don't do that. Do follow us on Instagram. Do check out our Facebook page. We'll post there as well. Of course, follow the blog TeaDB.org org for all of our weekly updates and more. Join the newsletter. Do all that fun stuff. Follow all the things. Be perfect. We love you guys. Of course, give us suggestions in the comments below. If you folks have had this tea and want to share your thoughts on it, let us know. What did you guys think? Is this tea an approachable tea? What are your favorite brewing parameters? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and we will see you guys next time.
Cheers.